How's it going, everyone? It's Noir Tapes back with another video. In today's video, I'm talking about one of the techniques I don't use enough and I need to use more. This is more of an advanced sampling technique, basically taking a note from a piece of existing music and turning it into a new MIDI melody, right? Normally with samples, you can chop them, you can make layers, etc. But this is like some next level shit because you're combining the two styles, right? You're combining creating your own melody and chord progression and sampling. You're combining the two by taking a note and then mapping it to a keyboard and creating your own melody. This is a much harder way to make beats, at least for me. I think if you were good with the keys, then it would come a bit easier because all you'd have to learn is basic sampling and then you could just map that note to the piano and you'd be crazy with it, right? But you know, I'm learning the piano, as I said, in a few videos on the channel. You've heard me talk about this. And I've been doing this series, making samples until I get good. That's one a week that comes out. And in those series, I'm trying to, you know, practice and get better playing the keys and creating my own samples. But in this case, I thought I'd give it a crack. I thought it was a pretty good video idea. You don't see it done a whole lot here on YouTube. And when it's done right, it turns out really cool. Like this beat I made here is crazy. And we'll break it down and show you how I got from point A to point B. So let's get into it. So just in Ableton here, you can actually see the beat is fully done. It's all there. But I'm going to break down step by step, starting with that particular note I took and creating the melody. So as you can see here, I'm in Serato Sample. I love using this sampler. I couldn't recommend it enough. And I've got my keyboard here. You can't see it. I'll move the camera when I'm playing the actual notes. If I just play the first note, it should just continue and you can hear a bit of the sample. So you can hear it's very artifacty. I slowed it down a lot. And the main reason for that was once I picked a note, I wanted to extend it out, right? And with the processing I was going to do on the note before I can play it anyways, that artifacting would sort of disappear. As you can see though, I end up using this particular note here on the W key, which is just the second key on the keyboard. And all I did in the Serato sample, aside from pick the note, was I pulled the second little divider, the bottom one here, just to set a limit to how long it is. The thing is, if you're trying to play it like an actual key, you need to have it in poly, not mono, so you can play chords and notes on top of each other without them cutting each other off. And if you have this mode selected, it'll play from start to finish. So if you don't have this length selected, it will go forever and it builds up as you play the keys and it sounds disgusting. So I've got the length set and all I did was turn up the release so it cuts down towards the end and fades out. So you get a nice clean note. And so all I did then, you click this button here, that maps this key to all the keys on the piano, and then you can start playing things. So that's cool now, we've got the sample mapped to the keyboard. It's time to add some effects just to make it sound a bit more nicer, to be honest. All I've done here is I've added an EQ just to calm down some of the artifacting and get rid of the bass on that sample. And then I added a bit of reverb because reverb makes everything sound nice. And so this is what we got now. Alright, that's great. So we got the sample mapped to the keyboard. I've added the effects so it sounds good. So now it's time to create something. I just started playing around with the piano, practicing playing different notes and different chords until something sounds good, and then I lay it down, move on to the next part. So I came up with this first. And so I thought that sounded cool. It was kind of haunting, the dark vibe that I usually go for. And so all I did was I laid that down and then I just played some chords that involved some of the notes from that melody, found some that sounded good, and this is what I've created. So I thought that was pretty crazy, so then I decided to bounce it, resample it, and then start working on some other ideas. So before adding any drums, I was going to flip it after, but I was sort of coming up with the idea as I was going anyways. But before adding drums, I decided to add a bass line. You can hear this here. And so that was sounding crazy. I love that upright bass. I think it sounds mad. I added this siren. And then just before the drums, I also had this little layer. It's just a delayed sound I found in an old detective show. And then lastly, of course, some big slapping drums. So I chopped up this drum break and it sounds fat. And yeah, this is the whole beat I made. Remember, I started with that one little piano sample and created this whole thing. So enjoy. Alright, well this is fun. I love experimenting and trying new things. This definitely turned out much better than I thought it was going to. And this is something I'm definitely going to be trying in the future. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.